بنطل عليكم اليوم من فينيس كندا، مكان رائع جداً بلوس أنجلوس. بحلقتنا اليوم رح نتعرف على مخرج لبناني أمريكاني جورج شمشوم. شخصيته مميزة جداً وأيضاً أعماله. خلينا نتعرف عليه أكثر بالقريب.
Yeah?
Excuse me, sir. Daddy's in there. Me and my mom are real worried sick. He ain't supposed to be drinking no more.
And who's your dad?
Open the door, please.
33 years ago, I drove through Turkey. Little did I know that I was treading on the footsteps of the apostles, touching the same ground, breathing the same air, drinking the same water, wandering under the same sky, and probably kicking the same stones.
George Chamchoum, thank you for receiving us here in your house, in the garden, very beautiful garden.
You're welcome.
You are a Lebanese-American director, and you were born in Niger in 1946 from Lebanese parents. Tell us more about your childhood.
Well, actually, I was born from, Lebanese parents. My father came from Brazil, actually, and my mother was born in Africa. We grew up in Niger, in a little, it's not even a village, it's really like a hamlet. And we were literally the only white people, plus, the commandant of the circle, which, he represents the French government. And it's in the southwest corner of the country of Niger. And I had a fantastic childhood. It was a beautiful childhood because my father was a peanut grower, and I would remember all the peanuts in front of the house, and me and my sister, we used to play, and jump in the peanuts. It was a wonderful childhood.
Yeah. And at nearly 6 years old, you moved to Lebanon?
Actually, no, much younger than that. We moved, I was about 4 years old.
4 years old.
And we moved to Tripoli, actually Mizyara, then, because in the summer we were in Mizyara, Hmais Mizyara.
Yeah.
And in the winter we would go to Tripoli, and they put us in the school there. And I was at Collège des Frères, and my sister was in one of the, the nun school. I don't remember the name
girls,
of it. Yeah, for girls, yeah. And me and my sister, we were so close that my sister would always run away from school. And they would catch her, imagine, in the streets, coming to my school to see me, because we were young,
close.
but we were also, how do you call it? Pensionnaire. We were. We slept in the school. So we would see each other only during the weekends.
So that's why she ran away to see
Yeah,
you.
she
You were very
she
close.
hated school. We were very close.
And
We're still very close.
Yeah. And how are your relationships towards your parents? Your mom, your dad?
Well, actually, I'm very blessed. I had a great, as I said, great childhood, and I was very close to my parents. My parents were really wonderful parents. And my mother, of course, like in those days, the father would, take the children to Lebanon and leave them with the mother because of the school.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit painful because we wouldn't see our dad until, the summer, sometime Christmas and winter. The Christmas or Easter.
Yeah.
And we actually, we lived in Tripoli. We were 18 kids in one house. I have to explain about that.
Yeah.
It's all my cousins, all my father's sisters, children. We all lived in one house, and my aunts would, take turns to stay with us. They would stay like 2 months. They would go totally crazy and nuts. They would leave, and then another aunt would come and replace. It was the most incredible experience that anyone can have. And it is still, stuck in me. It's still like encrusted in my mind, like if it was yesterday. We had a wonderful childhood, and we grew up in Tripoli, which was an amazing city. in those days.
You miss these days on the family.
Yes, of course I miss them because
together.
because we're all over the place. I mean, I have sisters in Paris, another one in Lebanon, brothers in Africa, another brother in the Arab countries. But you know what? We stayed so close that we always get together. And those 18 cousins, and you know that we lived with, we're still extremely close to each other. I think that's what cemented the family together.
Yeah, and you get to see them often?
I see them as much as I can, yes.
Then I know that you moved to France in 1958 to study, to continue your studies at school.
Yes, well, again, the parents are always saying, okay, what is the best thing I could do for my children? And my father, one of those guys who really believed in education. So he looked in England, between England and France, to see which is the best private school. And then he found one in France, and École des Roches. It was in Normandy. And that's where I did all my schooling until, la classe de première, the French system.
Yeah.
And that school was incredible because we lived in houses, like little houses, like 20 or 30 kids in one house with a father and a mother. And the total school didn't have more than 300 child from all over the world. But again, when I say that my parents thought the best is to put me there, but imagine, 58, I was 11 years old and not having my parents. I didn't have anybody in France. I was all alone in a boarding school. And it was extremely, extremely painful because to this day, I mean, I still, when I think about it, it was, yes, education was amazing.
But you needed your family,
but you know,
your
the father,
parents, the love, the protection.
So thank God. I mean, Easter, Christmas, I had a month, and summer 2 months. But also I got to meet so many great people. For example, I was lucky enough to have Olivia de Havilland taking me out for my weekends every other weekend because her son, God rest his soul, Benjamin, was one of my best friends.
Okay.
And the school asks of the parents, that please, invite the children that don't have parents here, invite them, during the weekend. So the son knew I loved the movies, even from these days. I loved the movies. And when he told me that his mother was Olivia de Havilland, I said, this is like a godsend.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up, she was like a second mother to me.
Ah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I didn't know. This is really new. And you went to Wales
Yeah, well, actually what happened
specialize.
is we did an exchange student with École des Roches and a school in Germany where I did my baccalaureate. It's called Landschulheim. It's in Germany, and so I spent a year there where I did my baccalaureate, and then from Germany, they sent me to university because they have exchange also with the university in Wales.
Yeah.
So I went 2 years in Wales, in southern Wales, in Glamorgan, not far from Cardiff.
Yeah. Then you came back to France.
Then I went back to France
to specialize
did my
also.
my film studies. Graduated. Actually, I was lucky. I thought we would never graduate because it was June 68, and as you know, May 68 was the French Revolution. And but our school didn't want to postpone a year, so we did graduate that year, June 68, and then I went back to Lebanon.
ولد جورج شمشوم بنيجيريا، هو الأصل من مزيارة، وانتقل للعيش إلى فرنسا سنة 1958 ومن بعدها إلى ويلز. خلينا نتعرف أكثر على حياته المهنية من بعد هالبريك الإعلاني. went back to Lebanon, so in 1968, and you started doing your short movies.
Well, actually, yes. I mean, it was like in the summer of '68, end of the summer of '68, I moved to Lebanon. And then with my friends, we did a medium short, like a 50-minute movie, Inside Out. That was my first real movie. And from there, you know, I did my first feature, full-length feature in 1971. And actually, it was the first time in the history of the Lebanese cinema, I took the whole crew and cast and crew, we went all to Mizyara, and we lived for a whole month. And we filmed the whole movie in that area. And for the first time also, the movie was in Lebanese. I didn't want to use Egyptian. And as you know, in those days, movies were supposed to be in Egyptian. I mean, imagine we're in Lebanon and the movie should speak in Egyptian. I refused. So of course, when the movie was finished, we couldn't get any distributor to take it because they say
it was something new.
you have to go and dub it in Egyptian. I said, there's no way in the world I would do that.
So you were the first to make a movie with the Lebanese language in Lebanon?
Actually, I think there was one before, if I'm not mistaken, about Khalil Gibran. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yes, I was the first one to really insist that the movie should be in Lebanese. And not only that, I brought an Egyptian actress, a famous Egyptian actress, Samira Ahmed.
Yeah.
And she studied the Lebanese language, so she can, you know, the accent.
Yeah.
So she could do in Lebanese accent. And the movie was never distributed in Lebanon until the first time that the Lebanese saw the movie was in 2004, 2005.
Oh,
Imagine it took all that time.
Yeah. I know that also between 1975 and 1979, you used to film in Lebanon and then take your films to Cyprus and Greece to edit, to come back. So you traveled a lot.
Yeah, actually, what happened, you know, I mean, the period between 68 and 75 when the war broke out, I did those two movies, but also we tried, you know, we had a group, you know, Edgar Najjar, Emil Shaheen, Gérard Boulad, who just died 3 days ago. God rest his soul, Muhammad Rida. We started a movie magazine also called Film in 2 languages. And it was a weekly magazine, 120 pages, imagine, every week 120 pages in Arabic and in French.
About the movie business.
About the movie business,
and
what
the new
movies
releases.
are. Exactly.
In Lebanon and in the world?
No, just
Only
Lebanon. But
Lebanon.
we spoke about the world cinema, of course. And we tried our hands at TV also. We started writing screenplays for a series based on Edgar Allan Poe, Robert Bloch, you know, horror stories. But it never came to fruition because the war started in 75. Well, then I took immediately my camera and started filming from day one the war, not knowing where I was going. I wasn't even sure if it's going to become a feature movie or I was just filming. I did not know. But you know what? In 1978, I had a full feature. I had 42 hours of film, and I used to edit. I went to Athens to edit the movie. I stayed 6 months. It took me 6 months to edit it. But I was the only person, the only filmmaker, and I had 7 people with me. We would go on every corner of Lebanon. We went to the west, we went to the east, we went to the south, the north, everywhere. But to do that, because, you know, Lebanon was cut into 2, so I had to go to Cyprus. And so when I wanted to go to Jounieh, I would go to Larnaca, Jounieh. And when I wanted to go to the south, to Saida or Sur, I would go to Limassol, and from there I would take, you know, the boat. So we really covered everything. And the great thing about it also is we were all with a total different political
point of view.
Exactly. I wanted that because I wanted to try and make a movie where I I wouldn't take sides, and I did not want to take sides.
You never talked about politics before 1975.
Not really. You know
really.
how we lived in
Yeah,
Lebanon in those days.
it
You don't
was
know. You were very young,
paradise.
but we didn't care really. I mean, we were living a dolce vita, as they
I
said.
know.
I mean, it was incredible.
My parents tell me.
Yeah, so we had, I mean, those days was just amazing, but we were not aware. That's the problem. We
Yeah.
didn't know what was really
And
going
it was
on.
an easy business, the film making.
Actually, when I came to Lebanon in 1968, 69. A couple of filmmakers like Mohammed Salman, God rest his soul, instead of seeing us as new blood into the Lebanese cinema, they felt that we wanted to take over. And in fact, all I wanted was to collaborate with those guys. I needed those guys to work with them and learn, but it was impossible.
They
so
didn't
there was
want you to,
yeah.
they thought you were like intruders.
Yes, intruder or take their place. And all I really wanted is to collaborate with those guys.
And between 1975 and 1978, you were preparing and making a beautiful movie.
I was filming the movie, yes.
Lebanon لماذا.
Yes.
You were filming it, and it took much time, but it was a success, and it was really backed up by many critics.
Well, actually, it was a very controversial movie because the left thought I was a fascist. The right thought I was a communist, socialist. Nobody accepted me. Even in my own family, they said, I betrayed, the Christians, or I betrayed the Christian ideology, etc., that I was a pro-Palestinian, and the pro-Palestinian said I'm a pro-Phalangist. I mean, you have no idea what I have been through. But to me, it means that I did succeed. I did create a controversy because that's how I wanted. Nobody was right and nobody was wrong. Everybody was right and everybody was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, so I tried to do that in my movie. And yes, I was invited to so many festivals, you have no idea. I mean, I spent a year and a half going from one festival to the other.
Yeah,
and
like Cannes, Berlin.
Yeah, and
Milano.
every yes, I went to Milano, Cannes, Berlin, Montreal. Actually, in Montreal, there was a riot in the cinema. They had to stop the movie after 12 minutes. They closed the cinema, and the cops cordoned the theater. Because people were fighting inside of the theater, because some of them were, when Chamchoum comes in, they start clapping, and others would be booing him.
Yeah.
And then when Jumblat came in, some people would clap and the other one would boo him, and then a riot. I mean, literally a riot. I mean, I was on the front page of all the newspapers, etc.
Was it really a success and in Lebanon or around the world?
Well, Lebanon, it was never shown.
Yeah.
And so,
it was
has
censored. You cannot show.
The movie,
you could not
it's
show
not censored. It was never shown.
Ah, okay.
And it's a very sad story because the negative of that movie, which are historical, are sitting at the Rank Studios in London, and I cannot even get them out because of somebody who's got the hand on them.
I understand. Where was the movie shown?
It was shown theatrical here in Hollywood at the Hollywood Dome, which is on Sunset.
Yeah.
It was there for 3 weeks, and it was screened it was screened in Paris in theaters. It was screened in London in theaters. It was screened in several countries in theatrical.
Tell us more about it, about the content.
Well, the content, again, as I said, I filmed everybody. I filmed from Chamchoum to Jumblat to Abrz to Bashir Jmail. Everybody was in my movie. I mean, can you imagine 42 hours of footage, historical footage? It's like the ultimate movie about the Lebanese war. But again, because of this misunderstanding between me and one of the person who put the money, I don't know what to do to get my negative back so I can restore it and release this movie, because it is so sad to see, such richness in footage of movie that it's sitting at the Rank Studios in England.
Yeah. We hope that you can get it back.
I hope so too.
And I hope we can watch it in Beirut. We are a democratic
No, it will be that now.
country, and we have to respect any artist's work, especially yours.
No, if I can restore it and everything, it will be shown. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So you went back to Africa and France around 1981, but you told me you regret that you went back there.
Look, I went back to Africa because I need to explain something. Since I was a child, I cannot even recall, because I asked my mother and my father, when did I have this love and passion for movies? And they said, you know what, since you were a kid, since you were a baby, you loved pictures, you loved photographies, you were riveted to the screen in the cinema, because in Africa there was nothing to do but go to the cinema at night, and so I was riveted to the screen in those days. So that's all I wanted to do. So to get to see, when I decided to study movies, which was always been my first choice, my parents never stood up and never said no. They let me do it. But my father, he spoke with me and he said, look, why don't you do something on the side, like anything you want, and then go to the movies. I did try for 2 years, but it didn't work. I couldn't focus. My mind was all the time into movies. That's how it was. And my father respected that and never said anything. So when in 1980, I went to Africa. I took like a sabbatical and I took a year. And I said, you know what, I'm going to try and see if I can work with the family. But I was very unhappy because something was missing.
Yeah, you were doing something you didn't like.
I wanted to please my father. I wanted to please my mother. But at the same time, it was extremely, extremely painful. So then, like after a year and a half, I went back to France.
And this is where you started your music videos.
Yes, that's...
with Jean-Luc Lahaye.
Yes, Jamila Delila was the first one.
Yeah.
And Jean-Luc was the one who gave me my first chance. And I should say that was very important because he stood by me every step of the way, because they were fighting me in France. They said, who's this guy? Why did Jean-Luc choose him? Why we have so many directors in France? And Jean-Luc did stand by me and told Philips, the company that was producing it, he told them, it's either him or I'm not doing it. And actually that music video opened the doors to many other music videos.
With
because in those days
Adamo,
was
you did also?
I did, yeah, Adamo, Jen Manson, and many others. I did this song Liban.
Yeah.
Pour les enfants du Liban. We did that song like We Are the World. Yeah. I did the same thing with French singers, Canadian, and some Americans. Yeah. And I went to Lebanon and I filmed the music video there. I took the youngest singer with me, she was 12, Fanny. And I did the music video, plus I did a documentary about it.
Did you like it more than making films or movies?
Well,
short movies or medium movies? Or
honestly, I don't care. As long as I'm behind the camera,
you like it.
I'm happy. Yeah. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. As long as I'm behind the camera and working in this business, this is the most important. That's my passion. That's my life. This is my joy, filming.
You started going to LA, then back to Paris in 1989. Then you settled down in LA in 1990.
I have to tell you a story.
Yeah.
I started coming to the States, I believe, the first time I came was 1985. I loved it, but I didn't stay too long. And then like in 1988, I started coming, staying like 2-3 months, then go back, then 2-3 months, then go back to France. I never really liked France. I never really liked Europe. I felt a claustrophobia. And then when I came for the first time to America, I said, oh my God, this is the place I should have been here. But to go back a little bit, when my movie Salam Ba'd al-Maut that I shot in 1971 was invited to the Moscow Film Festival, I was lucky to meet Sidney Pollack, the director.
Yeah, of course.
And my movie was shown officially, and Sidney came to the screening, and there was O.C. Davis. There were many other Americans. And I spent the whole festival, actually, 2 weeks of the festival with Sidney. You know, I loved what he did, what he does, and also, you know, being with Sidney is the greatest thing. So Sidney Pollack, after the last day of the festival, I remember, and I got an award for best technical achievement, which actually I'm very proud of this movie, because to this day, technically, this movie is I hate to say it, but it is technically a perfect movie. It's black and white. The photography made by Robbie Brady was out of this world. I mean, it's like every shot was like a painting, and shot in black and white again, which was a big risk in those days. Sidney told me, George, why don't you come to the United States? That was the exact discussion. Why don't you come to the United States and work with me? You'll gain experience, etc., etc., because you are a talented kid, and it'll be good for you. You will never believe what I answered him. I said, Sidney, you know what? I have to go back to my country because they need me. I mean, imagine what arrogance. I mean, how can I say?
But it's beautiful what you answered.
No, this is arrogance.
Though you tried to do it, but you came to LA.
But to me, it is arrogant, and I was very arrogant. There's no doubt about that. Young kid, 20s, done 2 movies, won a couple of awards. It's horrible.
It's not.
And now when I look back and I say, my God, that's why I say always to young filmmakers, please stay humble, because humble will take you anywhere. Mm-hmm. Do not be arrogant, because you will fall down, you will break your neck. Do not do that. So when I came to the States and I decided to move, I called Sidney. We stayed in contact, by the way. Yeah. We were always good friends. When he came to Paris, I would see him. I would come here, I would see him. So I told Sidney, this is George. He said, oh, hi, George, where are you? I said, well, guess what? I moved to LA. And he said, oh, my God. And that was 88, I think, or 89. He said, oh, my God, I hope that every decision doesn't take 20 some odd years for you to decide to come here, So,
But do you regret it now?
Look, this is one word I hate. I don't want to regret anything. But there's no doubt about it that if I came here in 1972, probably my life would have been different.
I know that you directed 3 movies with Steven Seagal here in LA.
No, I worked on 3 movies with Steven. I directed one, which is Universal Cops, and I worked on 2 others as a producer's trainee with him. Yes. With Steven Seagal. And
it was fun working with him?
It was great. You know what, I'm a very independent spirit. Mm-hmm. And working for studios, there's a lot of waste of time and waste of money. That's why I like to stay into the independent cinema and work into the independent cinema. I tried the studio, it didn't work for me. Mm-hmm. But I'm grateful to Steven, because he's the one who gave me my first shot at directing. He called a friend of his and told him, I want you to take Joseph Mary, he called Joseph Mary, who had a studio called PM Entertainment, and I want you to take George to direct a movie, and that's how I directed Tiger Heart.
Yeah, and it was a great experience.
Actually, it was not only a great experience, this little movie has been an amazing success on cable, because people are asking for it non-stop. So I'm very proud of that little movie. And it was a wonderful experience also, because I worked with people that I loved, and they were all new. I hardly worked with any one of them. And it was a nice experience.
And also you directed the Musketeers Forever.
Musketeers Forever. This is another project.
With Lee Majors.
I did it with Lee Majors and Michael Dudikoff. I shot it in Montreal, Canada. That was also a great experience, but also it was an extremely painful experience, because we started with a budget and we ended up with a different budget, because one of the producers, unfortunately, didn't do what he was supposed to do. But, you know, that's how life is, you know, it's ups and down. But it was a great experience too. And I loved working with Dudikoff and Lee Majors, who I think is an amazing person to work with.
And let's talk about your last movie. I know it's a movie that you like a lot.
The last
Journey into My Faith.
Yeah, the last movie that I did, I just finished a year ago. Actually, it's a trilogy about faith. And the first one is Journey into My Faith. I shot it in Turkey. It's a feature documentary, and Journey into My Faith is an extremely personal. I wanted to do it for myself, for my own pleasure, and I knew that probably I wouldn't make any money out of it, even though when I said producer, I had a great producer with me he's my partner, John Reed, who's been, you know, with me for the past 10 years. We've known each other for more than 20 years. We've been through a lot, both of us. And he never said a word. He never told me, George, no, do not do this. He let me completely be the boss on it from A to Z. And I did it. And I'm very happy that I did it. And again, when we screen it at festivals and stuff like that, or we do private screenings, people enjoy it very much. And if I can sell it one day, why not? But again, I will not be sad if it's not sold.
Yeah, because the important thing is that you did it.
I did this for myself.
Yeah,
so I just finished the second one, which is a short, you know, because it's a trilogy, also about faith.
What is your vision to faith, and what is your real relationship to God?
I have a very, very close relationship to God. I'm Christian, born Maronite Christian. Let's say I have a very, very, very close relationship with the Lord.
8 years ago, you were appointed program director to the Monaco Charity Film Festival, and a year ago, you are the executive director.
Yes, now I'm the executive director. But it doesn't matter. The most important is I'm still there.
You're still there, and also you have the NDU Film Festival, which is affiliated to the Monaco Charity Film Festival. Tell us more about these two festivals and what are your responsibilities?
Okay, the Monaco Charity Film Festival really came about. A friend of mine, Vicente Zaragoza, who lives in Monaco, he's from the Philippines but lives in Monaco and is a banker, called me one day and he said he wants me to step in and help him do this festival. So I stepped into the Monaco Charity Film Festival as a program director, and I programmed the festival. But the great thing about it is that I had free hand. I could do whatever I want. So the first thing came to my mind is, now that I have a festival, why don't we combine professional and students, which does not exist.
Yeah.
And that's how the Monaco Film Festival, we show student films and professional films. And you know, the most wonderful thing is that every year I have more. Last year, for example, 40 kids came from Lebanon to the festival, 40 students. Can you imagine?
Beautiful,
The year before 38, the year before 35. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, those kids, they come, they pay their own way. Some of them, okay, granted, NDU pays for them, but
others,
most of them, they pay their
personal.
own way to showcase their movie, to meet other filmmakers. Last year we had 82 filmmakers in Monaco. So it is a dream for young kids, and I wish I had this in my days. And that is how the idea came, is what did I miss when I was a kid?
Beautiful.
So I really focus a lot on those students. They have a full day, which is only Students' Day, where there's seminars and they show their movies.
And it's open to all students in filmmaking?
Yes, it's open to all students, and not only that, it is the only festival, actually, I believe, where you don't pay. It's free for all. You can, filmmakers and audience, because I want the movies to be seen by everybody. I don't want to limit by somebody who cannot pay, or pays or whatever. So the Monaco Festival is open to everybody. And also, I focus a lot on, you see, I have a lot of filmmakers. They have wonderful movies. You never see those movies. They don't have a chance to be seen anywhere. Or sometimes they go straight to DVD and not even people see them. So
it's an
I give them
opportunity.
this chance to show their movies, to see how the audience reacts.
And what do you think about the level of the new Lebanese filmmakers?
Well, to be honest with you, the quality of the students is...
If we want to compare it to...
it's one of the best in the world. There's no doubt about it. No doubt. I mean, the talents that we have in Lebanon is just incredible. And I know this because now that we have the NDU Film Festival, which we're affiliated to, and it's in its 6th year, every year we take filmmakers from, mostly America. We take Americans, and this year there were some Czech people, Czech filmmakers. They come back and they say the quality is just amazing.
جورج شمشوم هو أول من أخرج فيلم لبناني باللغة اللبنانية وسافر إلى كل أنحاء العالم، وأيضاً دخل عالم الميوزك فيديوز سنة 1981. خلينا نكتشف أكثر عن حياته الشخصية والعائلية من بعد هالبريك. I would love to talk about a bit your family, your personal life. I know you have Nabiha and Amin, you're a father, you have two...
I have two sons.
You have two sons. They live in Africa, and you got married twice.
Yes.
Do you believe in love? Or is it only in the movies?
I think I'm a permanent lover. I love all the time. I love everybody. My heart is big. I love everybody. You know what? I don't have hate in my heart for no one. Even some people have stabbed me in the back, and I see my producer in front of me here, John, who's been through this with me, and I to this day I don't hate those people who stabbed me in the back. I mean, I can't. But anyway, to go back, yes, I have two sons, Nabi and Amin, and they both live and work in Nigeria. And yes, I've been married twice.
Your
my
first wife is Lebanese?
Yes, Emme, from Emme Torbay. She's a great lady. She was a great mother. But you know what? Life didn't...
You stayed married how long?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
But my son, I remember.
It's not a good sign.
I don't remember. I mean, my son is 40, Nabi is 40 years old, and Amin is about 38. So, but I've been married to my wife now. She's a Korean lady,
yeah,
wonderful
she's a great lady.
Thank you.
I met her.
And we've been together for 16 years now, and we're really blessed with a beautiful life, and I'm very blessed to have her.
Yeah, and she's blessed to have you too.
Thank you.
When first you knew you had your wife was pregnant, how did you take it? Were you very young, or?
I was very young. You know what? I got married so young. That was not very wise. But Yes, of course it was wonderful. I mean, my God, I mean, you know, having a baby, I think is, I don't know how to explain. You know, I'm very shy about these things.
Yeah, and did you have some time to spend with your children, or you were always on the run?
Well, that's the thing, is that my eldest, I spent more time with him than with my youngest, and that, but I made up
Later.
when my youngest moved here and stayed with me, and then I discovered him and I discovered what a great kid he was, and that's how I saw that their mother was really an incredible mother, because she really raised them wonderfully well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But nobody is in filmmaking now.
No,
They
they're
have
both.
totally different business.
Yes, they're both in business.
اكتشفنا سوا انه جورج شمشوم هو اب لولدين وتزوج مرتين. خلينا نعرف اكثر عن علاقته مع لبنان وخاصه منطقته مزياره من بعد هالبريك الاعلاني. I would like to ask you about your relationship to Lebanon and to the Lebanese. I know you go often to Lebanon, especially for the NDU Film Festival, but and I know how much you are attached to Mizyara. Do you think one day you will go and spend the rest of your days in Mizyara, or you are sure you're going to be in LA and just visiting Beirut?
No, I'll always be in LA. I mean, look at this. I mean, this is the greatest country on God's green earth. You know, it's such a wonderful place, and the opportunities we have here is unique, you know. I love Lebanon. How can you not love Lebanon? And I love Niger. You know, I feel a lot Niger in my heart. I love Africa. But Lebanon also has a very special place because, you know, my important years and me growing up, I spent them, you know, in Tripoli, which I love, and of course Mizyara, Hmeis, actually, which is near Mizyara, are great places. And then, you know, everybody knows this life does not exist anywhere else but in Lebanon. You know, the way we used to live. Will I ever live in Lebanon? I don't think so. First of all, the traffic drives me crazy.
But there is traffic in LA.
Well, yeah, but that's we never stop. First of all, and you don't have those accidents that you have in Lebanon. And you know, the Lebanese people are like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, when they're behind the wheel, my God, you know, God help you. You know, get away from their way. You know,
and what do you say to all these young students, the young generation Lebanese students who are really finishing their studies and leaving to stay in, you know, in the United States, in Europe, in Africa? Do you encourage them to do so, or to stay in Lebanon and try to do something for their country?
I didn't stay. So how can I tell them to stay?
Yeah, but you're doing something with the NDU Film Festival.
Yes, I will always, if I have the chance to make a movie today in Lebanon, I will go. But the problem is there is no help from the government, okay? Very simple. Okay, you need to have help, okay? Plus, I heard that there were about 130 students that graduate in film school in Lebanon. I mean, 130, where are they going to work, those 130?
Sure.
And you know, half of them are extremely talented. So what is the solution?
Opportunities in Lebanon.
So leave the country. Of course, it's sad to leave the country. I don't want anybody to leave Lebanon, especially these days. I think we should all stick to Lebanon because we know where, you know, it's not going somewhere that is really good. That's in my opinion. But let's go back to myself. Me, I personally encourage, of course, if they can stay and work there, that's what I want. That is my wish. But I cannot tell them, do it, you know. How much opportunity do they have?
So it's, I think the government has to do a lot.
You know, since my days in the 60s, we've tried. We have tried, and we knew ministers personally, we knew the president personally. Nobody really cares, and they don't know that the arts is the reflection of life.
Yeah, it's true.
But in Lebanon, I don't know what is the
It's only
reflection
politics.
of life.
Yeah, politics.
Yeah, not even, it's dirty politics anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, George Chamchoum, thank you for
Thank
this
you.
nice conversation, and hope to see you very soon in Mizyara, not in Beirut.
In Mizyara, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
هيك بنكون وصلنا على ختام حلقتنا وتعرفنا على جورج شمشوم، المخرج اللبناني اللي بدأ حياته بفرنسا وبالولايات المتحدة، واللي الأفلام اللي أخرجها مهمة جداً، واللي أهم من هيك عم بيعطي فرص لكل التلاميذ بلبنان إنه توصل شهرتهم إلى العالم.
Souhaitez revoir cette émission et pour plus d'infos, visitez notre site internet www.mtv.com.lb.